As the dust settled on a particularly stormy London evening, two of the most incisive voices in royal commentary took to their microphones, Piers Morgan and Tom Bower. Their recent tete-a-tete sent shockwaves through the media landscape, as they unleashed a torrent of criticism directed at Prince Harry. Reports suggest that Harry had the temerity to request full security arrangements for his family, began Piers Morgan, his voice dripping with disdain. This is not only an outrageous overreach but also a gross misjudgment of the royal responsibilities he's sworn to uphold. Tom Bower chimed in, adding fuel to the fire. According to sources quoted by the tabloids, Harry's demands are nothing short of absurd, he said. The monarchy operates on a delicate balance of public service and personal sacrifice. His request for full security is seen as an attempt to bypass that very principle. Morgan continued, his tone growing more heated. Critics argue that such demands could undermine the trust between the royal family and its subjects. The monarchy relies heavily on maintaining a certain level of accessibility and humility. Harry's actions are perceived as a breach of this unwritten contract. Bower elaborated further, painting a picture of potential consequences. Supporters might say that Harry has every right to feel protected, especially given his high-profile status, he admitted. But the broader argument is that such requests could set a dangerous precedent for other royals and even common citizens seeking security measures. The commentators' words hung heavy in the air, casting a shadow over the already tense atmosphere surrounding the royal family. As the debate raged on, one thing was clear: Harry's actions had ignited a firestorm of discussion and criticism, leaving many to wonder just how far he would go to protect his family. In recent weeks, the royal community found itself thrust into a stormy controversy following Harry's public demand for full security arrangements to be reinstated. The Sussexes had previously stepped down from their royal duties, but now they are back in the spotlight, demanding more than ever before. Reports suggest that Harry's request was met with skepticism and concern within the palace walls. Critics argue that his sudden request for such extensive security measures could overshadow important issues facing the nation. Supporters of Harry, however, would say that he has every right to protect himself and his family, especially after the backlash from their decision to leave. Piers Morgan, known for his no-holds-barred commentary, took to social media to dissect Harry's request. It's clear, Morgan stated, that Harry is trying to draw attention back to himself at a time when the monarchy needs unity and focus. Morgan's comments have resonated with many who feel that Harry's actions could undermine the stability of the royal family. Meanwhile, Tom Bower, another prominent commentator, weighed in. Harry's demand for full security, Bower asserted, is seen as an attempt to capitalize on his former role within the monarchy while ignoring the challenges faced by common citizens. Bower's analysis highlights the growing tension between Harry and the palace over perceived priorities. As the debate rages on, you decide, is Harry's request justified, or is it a move that could further strain his relationship with the royal family? The Sussexes' decision to demand full security has set off a firestorm of opinions. What do you think? Stay tuned for more updates and analysis as this story continues to unfold. The security fight that has gripped the royal headlines is a tale of demands and delays. According to sources quoted by the tabloids, Prince Harry has been pushing for full-time security details since his mother's tragic death in 1997. Critics argue that this request stems from a desire for constant protection, while supporters would say it's about ensuring his safety given past threats. Reports suggest that discussions between Harry and the royal household have dragged on for years, with both sides at odds over the specifics of what full-time security entails. The royal watchers claim there are concerns about the costs involved, as well as the potential impact on Harry's public image and the monarchy's overall security strategy. Meanwhile, supporters argue that such measures are necessary to protect a member of the royal family who has faced significant personal threats. The situation came to a head recently when Harry made his demands more publicly known. According to insiders, this move was seen as an attempt to put pressure on the palace and ensure that his safety is not overlooked in light of recent events. Critics argue that such overt requests could strain relations within the royal family and create unnecessary public scrutiny. In response, the palace has maintained a stance of neutrality, stating that security measures are always tailored to individual needs but have faced criticism for seeming slow and unresponsive. The debate continues, with many questioning whether Harry's demands will be met and what the long-term implications might be for both his personal safety and the monarchy's overall security protocols. You decide, where does this saga of security demands lead? Will Harry get the protection he seeks, or will tensions continue to simmer beneath the surface of royal life? In the world of royal commentary, few names strike as much fear into the heart of the Sussexes as that of Piers Morgan. Known for his sharp tongue and unflinching criticism, Morgan's attacks on Prince Harry have been both relentless and devastating. A media mogul in his own right, Morgan has built a reputation as one of Britain's most controversial public figures. Morgan is no stranger to controversy. He has long been a vocal critic of the monarchy, often using his platform to air his opinions. His recent comments about Prince Harry's demands for full security have stirred up a storm. Commentators claim that Morgan sees this as an opportunity to further tarnish Harry's image and reputation. According to royal watchers, Morgan has always had a personal vendetta against the Sussexes, viewing them with suspicion ever since their decision to step back from royal duties. Critics argue that his attacks are more about personal spite than genuine concern for the monarchy. Supporters of the Sussexes would say that Morgan's comments are nothing but sensationalism and an attempt to distract from more pressing issues facing the monarchy. Morgan's latest salvo suggests a deep-seated animosity towards Harry, stemming perhaps from their differing views on the role of the modern royal family. His sources quoted by the tabloids paint a picture of a man who sees Harry as a threat to the traditional values upheld by the crown. As Morgan continues to dissect and criticize Harry's actions, many wonder if his attacks are merely a reflection of his own insecurities or an attempt to reshape public opinion. In this climate of intense scrutiny and debate, Harry finds himself once again at the center of controversy. The question remains, will Morgan's relentless criticism sway public opinion, or will it simply fuel the growing divide between those who support and those who criticize the Sussexes? You decide. The tension in Buckingham Palace was palpable as whispers spread through London's elite. According to Tom Bower, a former royal aide and now a respected author, the situation had escalated dramatically when Prince Harry made his demand for full security arrangements. Harry's request, Bower claimed, was seen by many as an overreach and a sign of his growing sense of isolation. Bower elaborated on how this move was perceived. The royal family, accustomed to maintaining a certain level of privacy, viewed Harry's demands with suspicion. His insistence on such extensive security measures, beyond what was typically afforded to the British monarchy, raised eyebrows among those who have seen firsthand the workings of Buckingham Palace. Bower went on to detail how the demand had sparked intense debate among royal watchers. Supporters argued that Harry needed a heightened level of protection due to his high-profile status and potential security risks. Critics, however, saw it as a sign of his growing detachment from the crown and its protocols. Bower's analysis suggested that this move could have far-reaching consequences for Harry's standing within the royal family. The demand was not just about security, it was also a statement of independence. It highlighted the rift between Harry and the rest of the family, who felt that his actions were undermining their efforts to maintain the dignity and stability of the monarchy. As Bower concluded, his words echoed through the corridors of power in London. In the eyes of many, Prince Harry's security demands were a turning point. They revealed not only his personal struggles but also the complex dynamics within the royal family as they navigated the challenges of modern monarchical life. Stay with me, because the next part is the one everyone is talking about. The Sussexes' decision to step back from royal duties has sparked a heated debate among royal watchers and critics alike. Piers Morgan and Tom Bower have been at the forefront of this discussion, with their latest comments adding fuel to the fire. According to sources quoted by the tabloids, Piers Morgan argued that Harry cannot simply walk away from his royal responsibilities and still expect to retain all the benefits and perks associated with being a member of the family. Harry demands full security but refuses to do his duty, Morgan claimed in an exclusive interview. It's like having your cake and eating it too. Tom Bower, known for his no-holds-barred approach, echoed these sentiments. The royal privileges come with obligations, he stated bluntly. You can't just walk away from the job without giving something back. Bower went on to suggest that Harry's demands are not only unreasonable but also damaging to the institution. Supporters of the Sussexes might argue differently. They claim that Harry's decision was made in good faith, driven by a desire to protect his family and ensure their safety. Critics counter with the argument that such a unilateral decision comes at a cost, both for the monarchy and its public image. You decide, as one commentator put it, whether Harry's actions are justified or if he is simply prioritizing personal comfort over royal duty. The debate rages on, with no clear resolution in sight. As the dust settles on another sensational royal drama, we're left with a stark and unsettling revelation. According to sources quoted by the tabloids, Prince Harry has made an unprecedented demand, full security for his entire family. Critics argue this move is born out of genuine fear, suggesting a deep-seated concern for their safety that goes beyond mere personal comfort. Harry's request, comments Piers Morgan on his popular show, isn't just about him anymore. It's about his wife and child. He believes there are real threats out there. Morgan's assertion is echoed by Tom Bower, who adds, it's not uncommon for high-profile figures to demand increased security, but the scale of Harry's request suggests he sees a significant risk. Supporters of the Sussexes, however, have their own take on the situation. They argue that Harry's actions are driven more by political maneuvering than genuine safety concerns. Harry is playing his cards close to his chest, one royal watcher opines. His demands might be about leverage and positioning rather than personal fear. The debate rages on, with commentators claiming that this security request could have far-reaching implications for the monarchy's image and operations. It's a sensitive issue, Bower continues, as it blurs the lines between personal protection and public safety. Critics would say Harry's move is a calculated play to draw attention back to his family and their perceived struggles. As we navigate through this complex web of speculation and analysis, one thing remains clear: the situation surrounding Prince Harry's security demands is far from simple. You decide, does Harry's stance reflect genuine concern for his family's safety, or is there more to the story than meets the eye? In recent weeks, the public discourse surrounding Prince Harry has been dominated by a series of intense media reports and commentary. One of the key points often made in his defense is that he was motivated by genuine concern for the safety of his family. Critics argue that Harry's actions were impulsive and poorly thought out, but supporters would say that his demand stemmed from a deeply felt responsibility to protect those closest to him. Reports suggest, says Tom Bower, a renowned royal commentator, that Harry was genuinely worried about the well-being of his children and wife in light of recent security breaches. He wanted to ensure their safety by reinstating full security measures, which had been reduced after the couple moved to California. Bower continues, supporters would argue that such a move reflects a noble intention. Harry has always been known for his protective instincts towards Meghan and Archie. They point out that the royal family is subject to intense scrutiny, and any perceived threat could have serious consequences. However, it's important to note that this stance comes with its own set of challenges. Critics claim that Harry's demands were unnecessary and potentially damaging to the monarchy's public image. You decide, says Piers Morgan, another prominent voice in royal commentary. Was Harry acting out of genuine concern or was he overstepping his bounds? His actions could be seen as a breach of protocol, given that security matters are typically handled by the palace. The debate rages on, with each side presenting compelling arguments. While supporters emphasize Harry's protective nature and the potential risks faced by the family, critics highlight the importance of maintaining the monarchy's image and adhering to established protocols. In this complex situation, it is clear that there are multiple perspectives at play. As we continue to follow the developments, one thing remains certain: the issue of security for members of the royal family will undoubtedly remain a central focus in the coming months. The fallout from Prince Harry and Meghan's demands for full security has become a symbol of the broader controversy surrounding their time as part of the royal family. Critics argue that these requests were excessive and set a dangerous precedent, while supporters contend they had legitimate concerns given the intense scrutiny and threats they faced. Reports suggest that Harry and Meghan requested increased security measures after receiving multiple death threats, which allegedly included explicit warnings about attacks on their children. According to royal watchers, this demand was seen as an overreach by many in the British public and media, who believed it could undermine the monarchy's image of simplicity and accessibility. Tom Bower, a former royal aide turned author, has been particularly vocal in his criticism. In interviews with various tabloids, he claimed that Harry's demands were not just about personal safety but also about maintaining his independence from the royal family. Bower argued that this approach was divisive and could alienate supporters who see the monarchy as a unifying force. Meanwhile, Piers, the highly influential media personality, took to social media platforms to dissect what he saw as Harry's self-serving actions. In a series of heated tweets, Morgan accused Harry of using his position for personal gain, suggesting that his security demands were part of a larger narrative aimed at garnering sympathy and attention. Supporters of the Sussexes would say that these security measures were necessary given their public profile and the harassment they faced. They argue that the royal family should be held to the same standards as any other public figure, especially those in high-profile roles like Harry and Meghan. In this ongoing debate, you decide where the truth lies. Was Harry's demand for full security a justified move or an overstep? And how does it reflect on his relationship with the rest of the royal family? As the saga continues, one thing is clear: this specific fight has become emblematic of the wider issues surrounding Harry and Meghan's time as part of the British monarchy. And that is not even the part that has the commentary world in a frenzy. The debate over security arrangements for the royal family has been a contentious issue, particularly since the departure of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle from their roles. Critics argue that the Sussexes have put the crown at risk with their public comments on sensitive matters, including security. According to royal watchers, sources quoted by Tom Bower and Piers in recent media pieces, there is growing concern among security experts about the potential vulnerabilities posed by the couple's outspoken nature. Reports suggest that Harry has become increasingly vocal about his desire for full security measures, a stance that raises eyebrows within royal circles. Supporters of Prince Harry maintain that he is simply advocating for what they see as necessary protection for himself and his family. They argue that given the heightened scrutiny and threats faced by public figures in today's world, such measures are not only reasonable but essential. However, detractors claim that Harry's demands could be seen as a political move to draw attention away from more pressing issues within the monarchy. Critics argue that these security requests might undermine the image of unity and stability the royal family strives to project. They point out that any perceived attempt by the Sussexes to leverage their position for personal gain or to overshadow other members of the family could be damaging. In this climate, Piers and Tom Bower, known for their no-holds-barred commentary, have been particularly critical. Morgan has described Harry's security demands as reckless and a potential public relations disaster. Bower, in his analysis, suggests that such actions only serve to highlight the rift between the royal family and its former members. The question remains, do full security measures for Harry and Meghan truly protect the crown, or are they merely a distraction from deeper issues within the monarchy? You decide. The demand for full security by Prince Harry has sparked a heated debate among critics and supporters alike. Piers and Tom Bower have been at the forefront of this discussion, using their platforms to dissect Harry's request. known for his no-holds-barred approach, argues that Harry's request is nothing more than a calculated move to gain public sympathy. Reports suggest, says Morgan, that Harry's demand for full security has become a political football, with some commentators claiming it's an attempt to garner support and attention back home. He goes on to point out the financial implications. According to royal watchers, the cost of providing this level of security could be in the millions. Critics argue that such expenses should be borne by the Sussexes themselves, not the taxpayer. Bauer, meanwhile, takes a more nuanced stance. Sources quoted by the tabloids, he states, suggest that Harry's request is rooted in genuine concerns for his family's safety. However, Bauer acknowledges the public sentiment. The British public is skeptical. Many feel that Harry and Meghan have already received extensive security measures as part of their royal duties, and now they are demanding even more. Supporters of the Sussexes, on the other hand, argue that the situation is complex. You decide, says a supporter quoted in various media outlets, whether the risk to Harry's family justifies the additional cost. They point out that the security threat has increased significantly since their move to California. According to royal watchers, the risks faced by the Sussexes have grown, making the demand for enhanced security more understandable. The debate rages on, with both sides presenting compelling arguments. As the situation unfolds, one thing remains clear: Harry's request is not just a personal matter but a reflection of broader issues surrounding royal privilege and public expenditure. The royal commentator Piers Morgan and journalist Tom Bauer have taken to the airwaves once again, this time to dissect Harry's demands for full security arrangements. Critics argue that such a move is nothing more than an attempt to perform for an audience already sympathetic to his cause. Morgan, known for his sharp tongue and unyielding skepticism of Meghan and Harry, begins by stating, reports suggest that Harry's demand for increased security is seen as a calculated move, designed to garner support and attention. Supporters argue that he needs protection due to the constant threats and harassment he faces, but critics point out that this could be a strategic maneuver to maintain his public profile. Bauer, meanwhile, delves into the psychology of the situation. According to royal watchers, Harry's actions are part of a broader narrative he's trying to craft, Bauer claims. They argue that by pushing for increased security, he's creating a sense of vulnerability and victimhood, which resonates with his supporters who feel he has been unfairly treated. Morgan adds, the key here is understanding the audience. These demands are not just about safety, they are about control. Harry needs to ensure he remains in the spotlight, and by demanding this level of security, he can maintain that presence. Critics argue that this approach could backfire, as it might come across as self-serving rather than genuinely focused on his well-being. Bauer echoes, you decide whether such tactics are effective or if they risk alienating even more people. The debate rages on, with supporters saying Harry has a right to protect himself and those close to him, while critics argue that he's playing a game for the cameras. The narrative builds as both men continue their analysis, weaving through layers of public opinion and media scrutiny. Whatever the truth, Morgan concludes, one thing is clear: this demand for increased security is just one more chapter in the ongoing saga of Harry's post-Sussex days. The fallout from Prince Harry's demand for full royal security has sent shockwaves through the British establishment and beyond. Critics argue that such a request is unprecedented and threatens to undermine the monarchy's carefully crafted image of humility and service. Reports suggest that Harry's demands have been met with skepticism, even anger, by those in power. Sources quoted by the tabloids claim that maintaining the status quo, where royal security is tailored to each individual's needs rather than a blanket provision, is crucial for preserving the Crown's dignity and resources. Supporters of the monarchy would say that such a move could set a dangerous precedent, potentially opening the door to similar demands from other members of the family. You decide, is Harry's request justified given his public service? Critics argue that the royal family must continue to make sacrifices in the interest of national unity and tradition. They point out that the monarchy has always been about shared sacrifice and communal duty, not individual privilege. Supporters, on the other hand, might say that Harry is simply fighting for what he believes are reasonable safety measures after his harrowing experiences. The situation remains tense as the royal household grapples with how to respond without alienating one of its most high-profile members. Meanwhile, commentators claim that this incident could have wider implications for the monarchy's relationship with its subjects and the public perception of the royal family as a whole. In the midst of this controversy, Piers Morgan and Tom Bower, two outspoken critics of Harry and Meghan, have weighed in. Their comments have been particularly scathing, suggesting that Harry is more concerned with personal comfort than the greater good. They argue that his demands are not only inappropriate but also damaging to the image of the monarchy. As the debate rages on, the question remains, what would a resolution even look like? Would Harry's security be increased, or would he be asked to make concessions in return for maintaining his current lifestyle? The answers remain unclear as the situation continues to unfold. Before we go on, drop a comment with your verdict. I read every one. As the dust settled on yet another royal drama, Piers Morgan and Tom Bower stepped into the spotlight, their voices as sharp and incisive as ever. The catalyst? Prince Harry's public demand for full security measures, a move that sent shockwaves through Buckingham Palace and beyond. Morgan began by dissecting the situation with his trademark blunt honesty. Reports suggest that Harry made his case strongly to the palace, citing genuine safety concerns. But critics argue that his timing was anything but opportune. Bower chimed in, adding his own perspective. You can almost hear the whispers, why now? Why after all these years of relative silence? The public, once sympathetic and understanding, is now weary. They've seen enough of royal drama, especially when it involves a member who has chosen to live so far from home. Morgan's analysis was unequivocal. The argument for security is clear, especially with the rise in online threats against members of the royal family. But supporters would say that Harry's actions are justified given the level of personal risk he faces. Yet, Bower wasn't done. He continued, his tone more measured but no less insightful. However, the public response has been telling. Many argue that Harry's demand comes at a time when the monarchy is already facing intense scrutiny. The royal watchers claim that such a move could be seen as self-serving, given the current climate. The tension was palpable. Morgan concluded with a stark assessment. In this video, you decide, does Harry's plea for security ring true, or does it appear to be a calculated move in his ongoing public relations battle? Bower nodded in agreement, adding one final thought, the monarchy is no stranger to controversy. But when the crown faces such a crossroads, every action by its members is scrutinized under a magnifying glass. As the segment wound down, the air was thick with the weight of the debate. The royal family found themselves once again at the center of a storm, their every move dissected and analyzed. In this video, the truth lies in your hands. What do you think? The fallout from Prince Harry's demands for full security has sent shockwaves through the royal family and beyond. Critics argue that his actions are a calculated move to draw attention back to himself and Meghan, while supporters might say he is simply looking out for their safety. Piers Morgan, in his sharp-tongued manner, has taken aim at Harry. When you demand something as extravagant as full security, Morgan declared on his show, it shows a lack of respect for the institution and the other members of the royal family. He went on to say that such demands could potentially undermine the unity of the monarchy. Tom Bower, author and longtime royal watcher, echoed similar sentiments. Harry's actions are not just about himself, he stated. He is trying to create a narrative that portrays him as a victim, but it comes at a cost. The rest of the family will have to bear the burden of his choices. The debate rages on. Do Harry and Meghan's demands for full security reflect genuine concerns, or are they a strategic move? Critics argue that such actions could damage the image of the monarchy and its ability to operate efficiently. Supporters might say that given their unique circumstances, these requests are understandable. As the dust settles, you decide, what do you think about Prince Harry's demands? Do his actions align with the best interests of the Crown, or are they a distraction from more pressing issues? Next time on our channel, we'll delve deeper into the impact of Harry and Meghan's decisions on their former lives. Stay tuned to find out how these choices continue to shape the future of the royal family.